Greetings, family. Just want to do a quick We All Be History moment. Yours truly, very impromptu. Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist. This statue behind me represents the one and only Edward Hull Crump, also known as Boss Crump, big-time political boss, power broker of Memphis, Tennessee, for decades. He was mayor, and then he became a player. Behind the scenes, kingmaker, one of the most powerful political bosses in American history, a proud Democrat from Holly Springs, Mississippi. And I just want to let you know, Memphis is definitely a Democratic plantation, and he's a big reason why. Because people are talking about how Memphis was so great that it allowed black folks to vote. As long as Boss Crump allowed you to vote, you had to vote Democrat. You know, it was the Democratic Party that founded the KKK. Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was a Memphian and was an alderman at one point, notorious slave trader, first Grand Wizard of the KKK from Memphis, proud Democrat, was actually a delegate at the 1868 convention. So Boss Crump disenfranchised black folks, but as long as we voted Democrat, we could vote. Boss Crump got his power through manipulating the Church family. As Robert Church Sr. is the real benefactor and savior of Memphis. Arguably the first black millionaire of the South. He saved the city when it lost its charter due to the yellow fever epidemic back in the late 19th century. He brought the first bond for $1,000, had a lot of real estate in the Memphis area, and he brought the city back. And it was the Church family, in particular his son Robert Church Jr., very powerful Republican. It was a time that black folks used to vote Republican, because that was the party of Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. And it was the radical Republicans that tried to give black folks their 40 acres and a mule that helped advocate for the Civil War. Matter of fact, the first high school west of the Mississippi for African Americans was named Sumner High School in St. Louis, Missouri, after Charles Sumner, senator from the Northeast, I think Massachusetts, who actually was beaten almost to death on the congressional floor back in the 1850s by U.S. Congressional Rep. Preston Brooks from South Carolina, where the Civil War kicked off April 12, 1861 at Fort Sumter, South Carolina. But getting back to Memphis, Nathan Bedford Forrest, proud Democrat, first Grand Wizard of the KKK. Boss Crump came up to Memphis late 19th century. But in order to get political power, he had to control the black vote. So he reached out to Robert Church Jr., very powerful Republican, not only in Memphis and in the state of Tennessee, but also in the entire country. He was a well-respected Republican power player. So, but at this point, a lot of black folks were Republican. So in order for Boss Crump to become mayor or whatever and have power for decades, he had to get that black vote under control. Robert Church Jr. Was one of the co-founders of the NAACP branch, the National Association for the Investment of Colored People branch in Memphis. One of the co-founders, very powerful player in the Republican Party, locally, state, and nationally. So he co-opted Robert Church Jr. to give him the end. You got to understand, black people, black power is unity and solidarity. White power is divide and conquer. So Robert Church gave him the political en route to gain the black vote. That allowed him to gain power, keep power. But what was a turning point, Crump could not be trusted. He was a politician, a snake in the grass. As soon as FDR became the Democratic president in the White House back in the 30s, he double-crossed Robert Church Jr. Matter of fact, he ran the Church family out of Memphis and, in effect, the South. Robert Church family was ran out of here. The church auditorium was destroyed on Boss Crump orders and watch. You know what they doing? They got Church Park. They used to be one of the first black-owned and built auditoriums in the country. Church Auditorium, which is now known as Church Park, where people like President Teddy Roosevelt and the one and only Booker T. Washington would speak to thousands of black people. He made sure he destroyed that as well as use the church mansion in South Memphis on Parkway for a fire demonstration in the early 50s. He actually burned down this amazing symbol of black power, black excellence, black wealth of the South to demonstrate new fire equipment, fire safety equipment, which is ironic. And you think about what we lost as black people in Memphis when the church family was ran out of here and Boss Crump co-opted the black vote, keeping it for the Democratic Party for decades to come. This is for Landslide Johnson, or Lyndon B. Johnson, my bad, no, but President Johnson allegedly said that he'll keep black folks voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And I'm being polite as far as the language that was used attributed to him. So Boss Crump created the blueprint for that. And I'm glad that black people in 2024 are finally waking up from our slumber. It's time to get back on track, get back on business. And what was lost when the Church family left Memphis, was forced out of Memphis, is this. Robert Church Sr., the patriarch of that proud family, helped save black Memphis. He was a victim of the 1866 Memphis race massacre, which was started by police misconduct. Police didn't like the fact that you had U.S. colored troops stationed in Fort Pickering. There's something about black men in uniform that are disciplined and trained, that know how to use firearms. Something about proud black men in uniforms that piss off America. But anyway, Robert Church Sr. was in his saloon on Beale Street. White folks came in, shot him point blank in the head. And Robert Church was a very fair-skinned, high yellow brother. Matter of fact, his father was a white man. His mama was a mistress or a concubine, whatever you want to call it, of that white man. But he lived his life as a black man. He supported black causes. He used to give Ida B. Wells money to help her out. You know, he was a benefactor for Ida B. Wells. It's my understanding when the People's Grocery lynching in the aftermath of that in 1892, a lot of black folks moved west and settled in Oklahoma, what we now know to history as Black Wall Street. I heard that Robert Church Sr. was an early investor in black settlements in Oklahoma territory, and I think including Black Wall Street. But what you lost is that the Church family, or Robert Church Sr., started the bank, or I think his son, and they started the Solvent Savings Bank on Beale Street. So you had black institutions as a black control that believe in giving out loans and investments into black businesses and black home ownership. So when the Church family got out of here, you got to think about it too. When they knocked down the Church mansion, they built the projects. The projects popped up, right? So you went from black folks owning homes to being lab rats in a social experiment known as the project. It's a social experiment, it's a science experiment, hence the name projects. The hood rat does not exist in nature. It was the creation of this American government controlling of social behaviors and whatnot. But I'll get out of this to say, 60 years ago, Memphis was right up there with Dallas, Atlanta, Nashville. 60 years later, Memphis is behind. It's not because Dr. King got killed here. That's always that crap that people want to pull. Memphis is not the city of the dead. It's the blueprint for modern America. I could do another story about that. But if you think about Dallas is booming, they killed the president in Dallas. And Dallas is still booming. It's not just about them Cowboys. So you got to think about what is going on in Memphis, why Memphis can't prosper for the majority of black people here. It's because you got to go back and look at this legacy. To me, this statue is more offensive than the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue that was on Union Avenue that was on top of the remains of Nathan Bedford Forrest and his wife. This is more offensive because this dude abused his power politically to sponsor and support and sanction white-sponsored state terrorism on the black masses for decades. W.C. Handy, the great, the father of the blues, right? Composer, band leader, W.C. Handy, he wrote Boss Crump's campaign song, which became known to us today as the Memphis Blues. So I just want to not give y'all the blues today, but I want y'all to recognize we owe nothing to the Democrats. They owe us everything, including this statue and legacy of Boss Crump. Because without black people, none of this could be possible, this American experiment. So I just want to tell y'all this, and I'll sign off, and y'all have a great day. Words great through Gelton. We love you madly.